Welcome in, whiskey freaks, to the Blind Tasting Podcast, Splash and Dash Edition. This is where I skip the history lesson and I get right down to tasting something I think I'll like, and I think you might like it too. Today, I'm finally cracking open a bottle I got for Christmas, and let me tell you, I've been itching to dive into this one for a couple of reasons. First, this particular recipe, the OESO. It's rumored to have some of those flavors that kind of hit me right in the sweet spot, and the proof point too. But of course, as you know, I am a pretty big skeptic, so I'm going to need to see for myself if the hype holds up. Second, Four Roses, it's kind of been a cornerstone in my whiskey journey from the very beginning. Let me explain. Some of the first bourbon that truly made me sit back and appreciate what was in my glass came straight out of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, at our good friends at Four Roses. There's a bit of nostalgia there for me too. I'll try not to let that cloud my judgment today, guys, but you know that's not going to happen. My judgment is not going to be clouded by that. So this just isn't another bottle to me. It's kind of a piece of history, kind of both personal and bourbon related. So anyway, I want to see if this OESO lives up to my expectations. Now, luckily, and I'm not trying to brag, but I can stop in at Four Roses basically whenever I want when I go visit the in-laws, as long as my wife says so. But this bottle, like I said, it was a Christmas gift from the wife. She actually got me two bottles. She got me the OESO and the OESK. At any rate, today is the OESO bottle. So, didn't come directly from the distillery, but I did pick up one from their Cox's Creek location last year. That one's a barrel strength. I think it's an OESF, and I'm going to put that on my need to review list. I want to get to that one pretty soon too. At any rate, let me tell you a little bit about OESO. And as you know, this is a splash and dash episode, so there's no long history lesson here. There's not going to be too much science or learning, honestly. Just tasting and finding out what this bottle is all about. So real quick, I got to at least tell you what Four Roses OESO single barrel straight bourbon whiskey actually is. And at Four Roses, they use a lot of chemistry to craft their bourbons. I'm not getting into all that. Suffice it to say that OESO stands for the O. The O is the first letter. It's always O. Don't know why it's always O. It just always is. And it designates the distillation of this particular product at Four Roses Distillery. The E is the second letter, and it designates the mash bill. This particular mash bill E, is 75% corn, 20% rye, 5% malted barley. And it's technically, like I said, called mash bill E. So this is one of Four Roses' high corn, low rye recipes, meaning should probably lean a little bit sweeter and fruiter rather than heavily spiced. It's amazing what this particular mash bill can do to a whiskey. That third letter, it's always S, and it designates that it's a straight whiskey. And the fourth letter being O, this one's kind of the funnest piece of the puzzle for me. It identifies the proprietary yeast strain that they use. Now, they've got 10 different yeast strains, and each one creates unique flavors. They say the O yeast strain leans kind of fruity. You know, like that one friend who swears they're not a cocktail guy, but orders a mixed drink every time. Yeah, like that. So the age of this one. This whiskey is aged 7 to 9 years. They tell you right up front. Again, love Four Roses, love what Brent Elliott does. There's a lot of transparency at Four Roses Distillery, and this is a part of that puzzle. There really isn't a puzzle, right? The piece is right there. It's aged 7 to 9 years, and it's not a blend like you'd find in small batch. It's a single barrel, and in this case, it's right on the front of the label, barrel number 38-1D, whatever that means. Anyway, the bottle looks like most Four Roses bottles. There's really nothing to note here except the collar of the bottle has a label, which is very different, and it says recipe OESO in very large and very clear letters. It's easy to recognize from a distance that this one is different than the other Four Roses bottles you have on your shelf. Okay, this is amazing here. The price is $50. And although they say this is a January release, my wife picked this one up in December 2024, so just a few months ago. It literally hit the liquor store My wife snuck down there that day and she grabbed it for me. So little did I know. Okay, let's drink. Let me pop this open and I'm going to grab the closest glass near me, which is, you guessed it, my Limestone Branch Glencairn. All right. It's got average legs. It's not, well, maybe above average legs, actually. As I swirl it in my Glencairn. It is at least 7 years old, so that's kind of what you'd expect here. Maybe, yeah, this is nice. Looks good in the glass. So the nose. Oh, that's nice. That bright red fruit. Vanilla. And there's a bit of soft oakiness in here and maybe the slightest bit of honey. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward stuff here. There's nothing crazy going on here. There's nothing offensive about it either. So far, so good. Yeah, definitely makes you want to get in here and get a taste of it. So I will. All right, let me get a first sip here. I should mention, there's no alcohol on the nose. Nothing. It's a 100 proofer. No alcohol on the nose. That's good. Let me sip this. Oh, yeah. Great mouthfeel. Great mouthfeel. I call this creamy. It's very nice. It's got nice amounts of vanilla in here. Just a smidgen of oak. Let me get another sip. Yeah. Okay. The red fruit is very pronounced. And I think that's to be expected from this particular iteration of Four Roses. Talked about that yeast strain. This yeast strain, they say lends itself to a fruitiness. And well, here it is. It's front and center. So let me get one more sip real quick. Okay. So I went to Target and I picked up this jelly, for toast. It's called something like triple berry spread. And no, that's not my OnlyFans page. Triple berry spread is what they call this stuff from Target. It's like a jelly. It comes in a little glass jar. I think it was like $4.50. It's got like this raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry blend. It's all mixed up in there. The flavor, anyway, is all three of those things. So at first, I'm thinking, that's what this berry note is here, the red fruit note. But it has the slightest bit of tartness on the end. So although that triple berry spread, again, I recommend that. Go to Target, pick it up. I'd go more with a cranberry or an elderberry right at the end there, like that kind of note, really. And because it's got just that fruitiness, that fruity note kind of turns just the slightest bit tart. So that tartness, just a little bit of tartness. Don't be confused. I'm not. It's not going to hit you hard, but it is there. So like I said, the normal red fruits that you think about, blackberry, cherry, those kinds of things. I feel like this is more a cranberry or an elderberry on the edge there with that little bit of tartness. Don't get me wrong, it's great. So far, so good. Let me get another sip. This will be my last sip. Okay, so on the finish, that creaminess I was getting right off the top, it's really kind of fading away pretty fast. And the notes I'm left with are like a sweet, slightly oaky red fruitiness, and it finishes pretty dry. It's nice, and you got to remember, this bad boy's at 100 proof, and it's 7 to 9 years old. It tastes to me, it kind of acts just like a 7 or so year old bourbon would act, but what do I know? I'm not Brent Elliott, right? So you're probably wondering at this point, what's the verdict? Well, we'll find out right after the money spot. Are you looking to update your bar or man cave with some great photographs or wall art? Head over to Etsy at famousdocs.etsy.com and pick up some fantastic Prohibition, bourbon, whiskey, and gangster-related photographs and art. Okay, guys, you've got to check this stuff out. They've got stuff about Al Capone, John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, all kinds of Prohibition photographs from back in the day, all kinds of cool photos you could use to decorate your bar or your man cave. And if you purchase 4 or more items, you'll get 20% off your entire order for a limited time. So get over to famousdocs.etsy.com, famousdocs.etsy.com, and that'll be in the show notes as well. So, as you know, in the Blind Tasting Podcast, we have 3 verdict options. Are we going to keep it? Are we going to collect it? Or are we going to call it? To keep it means to proudly display it in your liquor cabinet or bar. This stuff is good for a pour anytime, but there's no need to stock up on it since it's pretty much always available. Collect it. You should grab another bottle or maybe even 2 if you find it so darn delicious, or it just may not be easy to obtain. Lastly, cull it. Use it to loosen rusty bolts or sanitize a dirty toilet. In the case of Four Roses limited edition OESO 100 proof straight bourbon whiskey, I say keep it. Look, you gotta love what Brent Elliott is doing at Four Roses. Like I said, I'm trying not to be biased here based on my bourbon journey, so to speak, but think about it. He's a chemist. He's a perfectionist. And you got to know what you're doing if you're working with 10 yeast strains and 2 mash bill recipes. And I say this limited edition OESO is no exception to that kind of effort that he's been putting in at Four Roses. The consistency, the quality. He's such a pro. And it's really kind of elegant what they do anymore. So precise. This OESO to me, it's solid. It's available. Okay, all right. It's available once a year. Like I said, it's a limited edition. It comes out in January. Like I said, this year it came out in December. But if you talk with your dude at the liquor store, you're going to probably get one. And the kicker, the best part to me, it's only $50 for 100 proof, 7 to 9 year old bourbon from our good friends at Four Roses. All right, whiskey freaks, let's be real. This podcast ain't free to make. And my wife, well, she's got questions about where all the money's going. So if you've ever enjoyed an episode here on the Blind Tasting Podcast and thought, man, this guy deserves a drink, well, now here's your chance. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/blindtastingpodcast. Toss a few bucks in the tip jar. It'll keep the podcast rolling, and it helps me prove to my wife that somebody out there thinks this was a good idea. Thanks for the support, whiskey freaks. That's buymeacoffee.com/blindtastingpodcast. Just $1 or $2 if you love what you're hearing. So appreciated, guys. Cheers to all of you. Now let's get back to the bourbon. All right, so personally, I'd like to see this one at barrel strength, more like 110 to 115 proof. But like I said, so many positives here. I say grab one and enjoy. You'll thank me later. Well, that's all I got for today, whiskey freaks. Thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast, Splash and Dash Edition. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever good podcasts are found. I appreciate all y'all, so I'll see you soon.